Stocks take a beating with mid-caps bearing the brunt after Trump unveils a fresh set of tariffs, adding further uncertainty to global trade. IT and healthcare are the big drags. Telecom too stalls after the Supreme Court defers its hearing on Vodafone Idea. In a landmark move, the Supreme Court has overturned its earlier order, paving the way for JSW Steel to retain its interest in Bhushan Power and Steel. The court observed that the purpose of IBC had been achieved and it would be disastrous to undo the deal. It also dismissed the EBITDA claims as this was not part of the resolution. The Telangana government has indicated its intent to take over Phase 1 of the Hyderabad Metro along with its debt from L&T for an equity value of 2,000 crore rupees. Analysts see the move lifting a big overhang on the stock. Donald Trump has announced a slew of new tariffs, with the most significant being a 100% levy on patented and branded drugs not manufactured in the US. While India generic industry will see no impact, select players with branded presence like Sun Pharma may see a dent. With an aim to draw the first-time car buyers into its fold, Maruti Suzuki is planning to roll out a 1,999 rupees EMI scheme. This follows the unprecedented response to its post-GST offers that are pulling in customers in droves. Well, hello and welcome to Business Lunch live from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I'm Vamakshi Doria and it's the last trading day of this week, and one would have probably hoped that the market sort of takes cues from the festive season of Navaratri. It's green day today and sees some green on the screen, but unfortunately that's not what the market is doing. It's a sea of red as far as the overall market is concerned. The Nifty for now has broken below the 24,800 mark, trading with a cut of over 100 points. The advanced decline ratio vastly in favor of the declines today, and that is being seen in the mid-cap as well as the small-cap indices as well. The mid-cap index was down almost over 1% the last time I checked, and so was the small-cap index. So again, the trend of the mid-cap as well as the smaller-cap index underperforming the benchmark index continues. Now, as far as sectoral movers are concerned, all of the sectors barring realty are in the red, and of course we're seeing some fair bit of pressure coming in on auto, FMCG, as well as the Nifty Bank. There's no support coming in from there because we did see some support at least come in from that front. But of course the big story of the day today is the US President Donald Trump has announced a 100% tariff on imported, branded and patented pharmaceutical products effective from the 1st of October. Now, unless companies are building manufacturing facilities in the US defined as having broken ground or being under construction, Ekta is bringing us all of the impact. Ekta, over to you.
Trump's announcement on 100% tariffs on imported, branded and patented pharma products is targeting innovator companies, say analysts, many of whom had anticipated such a policy and announced large US investments. For example, Novartis plans to invest $23 billion over the next 5 years in the US. Eli Lilly has announced 4 new sites in 2025, and Roche has begun work on a $700 million facility in the US. For India, the immediate impact is limited since the country is a major generic supplier, accounting for around 20% of global generics and 40% of the US requirements. Generic-focused firms like Dr. Reddy's, Lupin, Cipla, Aurobindo are unlikely to be directly affected, though concerns remain about the potential future measures. However, Indian companies impacted include Sun Pharma, whose branded specialty portfolio, which includes drugs like Ilumya, Odomzo, Sequoia and Winlevi, makes up around 19% of their total sales. Specialty revenues rose 17% in FY25, largely from the US. Analysts estimate that tariffs could in fact trim 5 to 10% of their EBITDA. But Sun, however, has not disclosed US production levels. It has said its existing capacity, however, is sufficient if required. That's what they had indicated in their previous analyst call. Now, Wockhardt may also be impacted as its novel antibiotic Xenic, manufactured in Europe, is set for US FDA filing. The company, as of now, lacks any US manufacturing presence, which could leave it vulnerable. The market is also wary of potential effects on CDMO players if formulation companies, in fact, redirect capital towards US capacity, reducing offshore outsourcing. Now, implementation questions remain, however, including whether the tariffs will override the US-EU trade rules that cap pharma tariffs at 15% and whether APIs or finished products with patented APIs will fall under the tariff net. For Indian generics, industry watchers believe that adverse steps are unlikely given the dependence of US patients on these medicines. Still, companies are hedging risks by adding onshore capacity. For example, Aurobindo's $250 million acquisition of Lannett added a CGMP facility with a large tablet capacity, while Ipca has partnered with Biosimilar Sciences in Puerto Rico for biologics. Analysts expect more acquisitions of mothballed assets as well as other assets and new capex if in case the trade tensions do persist.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for breaking down the news development as well as its impact on Indian pharma companies. But in fact, earlier today, we spoke to Habil F. Khurakiwala, who's the founder and chairman of the Wockhardt Group, and we discussed with him the US President Donald Trump's 100% tariffs on branded and patented drugs starting from the 1st of October. And what would the impact be on the Xenic drug? Let's listen in to what he had to say.
One of the important things is all our new molecules like Xenic, which we would be going to US as our first drug. The product is entirely manufactured in Europe, and therefore it will not be covered by Indian tariffs, and it would be covered by the European tariff. And we have to actually assess the impact of that when we introduce it. But overall, we don't believe it would have a significant impact on the business proposition which we have for Xenic in USA. We would be filing to US FDA sometime next week. We would be filing Xenic next week. It is getting produced in Europe. So if it is getting produced in Europe, I do not know the tariff position. Is it even in Europe? It is 100%. But our product is getting manufactured in Europe, and we have to assess the impact of the tariff. But this will affect most of the drug because major part of a new molecule are also manufactured in Europe and other countries.
Well, that was all on the pharma sector for now. But moving on then, in a big relief to JSW Steel, the Supreme Court has overturned its own judgment on the resolution relating to Bhushan Steel. Ashmit is joining us for more details on this. Ashmit?
Right, so a massive relief coming in for JSW Steel, the Supreme Court overturning its own judgment and granting its blessings to the 19,700 crore rupee resolution plan by JSW for Bhushan Power and Steel. Now, there are various findings which emerged in favor of JSW Steel. The Supreme Court, for one, observed that as far as the delays in implementation of this resolution plan is concerned, the Supreme Court said squarely that this is not the fault of the lenders, this is not the fault of JSW Steel. This is due to an ED investigation that was investigating Bhushan Power and Steel under PMLA. Mind you, this is important given as how the first time when this entire resolution plan was scrapped, that was due to citing of these delays. That's number one. The second is the Supreme Court very clearly records as a part of its order that the company, Bhushan Power and Steel, has changed, has turned around completely, that it was a loss-making, defaulting company. JSW Steel brought in crores of rupees, brought in thousands of employees, and with that has managed to turn the company into a profitable entity. And this, the Supreme Court said, is at the very heart and the very intention of what the IBC is trying to do, and therefore using that to back JSW's resolution plan for 19,700 crores. Not just that, there was another third key aspect, and this is a fresh demand that had been raised by the lenders, that the EBITDA for the period that the company was under insolvency, that EBITDA should flow towards the lenders. This figure was stated to be 6,100 crore rupees. The Supreme Court has struck down on that demand as well, saying that there is no need for grant of this additional dues from JSW Steel to the lenders, that this was not a part of the resolution plan, and therefore no case is made out for that. So on all fronts, a big relief coming in for JSW Steel, their resolution plan now slated to go through for Bhushan Power and Steel.
Well, thank you so much for that, Ashmit. Indeed, big relief and big positive for JSW Steel. But do stay on with us because the Supreme Court has now deferred the hearing in the Vodafone Idea AGR dues case to October 6th. Ashmit, tell us more.
Well, all eyes clearly on the DOT, on the position that they'll be taking before the apex court. There was a lot of attention, a lot of build-up ahead of the hearing today. The Solicitor General on behalf of DOT was supposed to appear, give some roadmap of what the resolution to the Vodafone Idea crisis may look like. For now, however, the government, being represented by the Solicitor General, has asked for more time. Vodafone Idea said that they did not object to this extension of time. The next hearing will take place on October 6th. But again, the substance, the facts of the case remain the same. Vodafone Idea knocking on the doors of the apex court. They had essentially moved again against additional AGR dues that are being claimed by the DOT. What is interesting, however, is when the matter had come up the previous week on Friday, last week's Friday, that's when the government had taken a very dramatically different position. Far from earlier letting Vodafone Idea fend for itself, this time the government actively batting in support of Vodafone Idea, saying that the government has skin in the game. The government now enjoys a 49% equity stake in the company, that this is an issue that requires support from the government. This is an issue that requires support from the court. So that is what has inspired some hope for Vodafone Idea going forward, with the government now siding with the company in favor of more support, in favor of some relief, at least on the AGR front. That is one issue that we'll hopefully get more clarity on at the next hearing on October 6th.
Absolutely, Ashmit. That is one important case that we'll be closely tracking and bringing you all the updates on. For now, Vodafone Idea is trading close to the day's lowest point. But moving on then to the big GST 2.0 consumption boost story. Now, earlier, we spoke to Maruti Suzuki's Partho Banerjee to understand how the GST 2.0 reform has played out for Maruti in terms of sales during Navratri so far. So let's listen into that conversation.
I think the response of the GST 2.0 reform, thanks to first the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Finance Minister for coming up with this reform, the response has been phenomenal. Just to give you a perspective, that we are almost having every day 80,000 inquiries, and bookings are to the tune of 18,000 per day. And we have already crossed the 80,000 mark of the retails after the start of the Navratra. So small cars also, we are seeing a very good response. The bookings have almost grown by 50%. And the interesting part is this: beyond the 100 cities, we are seeing a much better traction of the small cars. I think it's too early to give a comment on the year-on-year basis, because the first half has been a washout. You know, the industry is almost at flat. So I think let's wait for some more time, and then it will be better to give a forecast. The total bookings, how is the growth into the entry-level cars? It's the highest in the entry-level cars. The growth is to the tune of 50% in booking. And the best part is this: we are seeing a very good traction across all our entry-level cars. Yes, along with the GST 2.0 reform, we have also tried to do a very strategic pricing. Our endeavor is to increase the motorization in India, because the pie of the auto industry was not growing. We are giving a very special offer, festive offer, till 31st of December. So we want the people to upgrade from two-wheeler to four-wheeler. And we are coming with some very innovative schemes of owning a car, the entry-level car, just by paying an EMI of 1,999 per month only.
Well, you heard it from the management of Maruti Suzuki, indicating that bookings are in the fast lane. But take a short break then. We'll get you more news and updates on the other side, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. The brief bit of recovery that we did see in the markets has been sold into. The Nifty is now down 140 points. We're seeing some fall come in counters like Bajaj Auto, which has cooled off about 1% or so from the day's highest point, trading at 8,871. So there you go, Bajaj Auto seeing a sharp fall in trade today. Apart from that, take a look at Trent as well. That too has slipped to the day's lowest point, down almost 0.8%. Apart from that, look at Axis Bank as well, 1,150 odd levels is where the company is trading at, and in fact it has cooled off almost more than 1% or so from the day's highest point. But on to some more news from the United States. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order declaring that his plan to sell TikTok's US operations to US and global investors will meet the national security requirements. Listen in.
This is going to be American operated all the way, and great respect for President Xi, and I very much appreciate that he approved the deal, because to get it done properly, we really needed the support of China and the approval of China.
Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns? For
Yeah, I am. I really am.
It would push disruptive
The
content.
biggest reason is that it's owned by Americans, and very sophisticated Americans, and people that love the country, and very smart Americans too. So they don't want anything like that to happen.
All right, on that note, let's slip into a very short break for now. We'll get you more news and updates on the other side, so don't go anywhere. Thanks for staying tuned into Business Lunch. Well, the Indian Air Force bid farewell to a controversial yet much loved aircraft in the form of the MiG-21, which retired this morning after 62 years of service. The IAF first acquired these aircrafts in 1963, and over 870 aircrafts were inducted over the years. The legendary Russian aircraft has taken part in all of India's conflicts since the 1965 war with Pakistan and was the first supersonic fighter in India's armory. The retirement of the MiG-21 has also brought to light concerns over the Air Force's dwindling squadron strength, something which the Ministry of Defence is working to address with orders for the homegrown Tejas fighter. Now, in an exclusive conversation with CNBC TV18, Hindustan Aeronautics Chairman and Managing Director T.K. Sunil also said that they will be raising their capacity to 30 jets by 2027. Listen in.
We have already made an investment of almost 2,000 crores over the past few years. We have 2 lines in Bangalore producing 8 each aircraft. And the third line at Nasik, we've spent close to 700 crores to expand that and make it another line producing capable of producing 8. And the first aircraft will roll out this month from that line. We effectively have a 4th line in the private sector, where the airframe parts come from the private sector. We get the wings from L&T in Coimbatore. We get the center fuselage from VEM Technologies in Hyderabad. We get the center fuselage from Alpha Tokol. We get the vertical tail and the rudder from TASL, it's a Tata group. So we effectively have a 4th line in the private sector. So this will bring our capacity to close to 30 in the next couple of years.
Moving on then, floods across Maharashtra have wreaked havoc, affecting the lives of millions, especially farmers. Now, CNBC TV18 Santya Gora travelled to Ahilyanagar to see the destruction in the aftermath of the floods. Take a look at this report.
Soil erosion in agricultural lands, uprooted trees and damaged crops. These visuals show you how severely Maharashtra is impacted because of heavy rainfall and floods. Team CNBC TV18 is on the ground zero to bring you the ground reality. Maharashtra government claims that 31 districts in Maharashtra are impacted and over 85 people have lost their lives due to heavy rainfall and floods in Maharashtra so far. And crops, over 50 lakh hectares have been damaged, including crops like onion, bajra, maize, cotton, soybean, oranges, pomegranate and pulses. Maharashtra government claims that it has sanctioned a compensation of over 2,000 crore rupees for over 31 lakh farmers so far. Maharashtra government has also sought assistance from centre, and Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has written to Union Home Minister Amit Shah requesting funds from NDRF's quota. Maharashtra government has assured proper compensation to affected families and affected farmers, but the farming community has demanded that farming community and the opposition, they have demanded that the state government should announce this year, should declare this year as wet drought year, a decision the state government is yet to make. In Ahilyanagar with camera person Swapnil, this is Santya for CNBC TV18.
Well, a quick programming note for our viewers. If you're looking for the big bets and the market themes that will shape India's 2030, Nilesh Shah of Kotak KMC joins us live in an exclusive CNBC TV18 Access webinar this Saturday. Over 200 investors have already signed up. Become a member today on the CNBC TV18 app or log on to cnbctv18.com/access/plans.